IVM.
Oh, okay. That was
Today was
full of a clap.
we heard clap. Something fell and then there was a clap. Oh my God.
It's so representative of 2020. Like even a clap is something we are struggling with. Right
my God. Oh my God. Hi, Sunetro.
Hello, Farhad.
I am upbeat, which means internally I am offbeat. No. I am so happy we started doing this Friday shit. Thank you for pushing for that because it's nice. It's nice. Friday evenings are nice. I guess.
Yeah.
I find myself to be a little more because what are weekends anymore anyways? But
lol.
It still makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Friday evening. Ooh, Sunetro time. GAYBCD time. Hi, what's happening?
Bas, chal raha hai. Like, what did you do? Anything new? Like, did you? So I'm really excited about. I've been making a lot of these like sauces, like Thai sauces and condiments from scratch. So this week was literally just that. I made like chili oil and I made like
dude. Chili oil is like
bomb.
Oh,
and I made it from like scratch. Okay, from scratch. Also, for example, you know what namprik pao is? Thai chili jam, which is made with like prawns.
That sounds like a guy I hooked up with once. Sorry.
Okay then.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's made with like dried prawns and stuff. That oh god, it was just like it was so.
You know what? The chili oil, the invention of chili oil, is such a great thing because before that, I think it was not mainstream to drink oil. And because when I go to like O Pedro or I go to that what is that oh my god, that beautiful place La Loca Maria in Bandra, they do shrimp fried in chili oil, and dude, I soak my bread in that oil and I eat it. Like I always wonder, when did it become normal to just ingest oil? You know what I mean? Like you're literally just eating oil.
So I mean, I'm not crazy about it as a bread accompaniment. I love it with dim sums. Like for me, Chinese.
Dosti mein darar.
I don't like bread. That's the thing.
I literally just before we started this call, I was telling you about how excited I am that my favorite bread place has opened
I know. I mean, literally all my friends. Okay, so literally, whenever we've discussed. My friends and I, we've never been able to go like together. We've never been able to go for a vacation because like, and as in what I mean is my work friends, because each one of us has to be at work and shit like that.
Yeah.
One of the things I decided was we can never do a Europe trip because what am I going to eat there? Because it's all bread. Can I
psychoanalyze this for you, Sunetro?
What?
Okay. You obviously have never had bread around you. And I'm not saying like white sliced Britannia bread types, okay? I'm saying you obviously not had bread around you when you have been emotionally devastated.
I have. Because... So I've had, literally, I grew up with sandwiches rather than rotis. So I was a bread family from the beginning. Like my whole family... my mom's side still thinks they're British. So they have like, bread and toast with like every day, like, and different kinds of breads, like sourdough, what's up.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it.
I have different like damages, like trauma, childhood trauma, different types, right? And those have caused different voids in me and
filled with different kinds of bread.
So, for example, no. So, for example, a breakup kind of void can only be filled with something like fried chicken or ice cream. If it's like a mom-related trauma, like mommy issues type of trauma, it can only be filled by bread or white rice, like carbs, basically. So sometimes
I'm like that with shopping. Okay, like it's so funny because literally, I can literally, if I look at my shopping history, I can track my mental health like graph.
Oh my God.
It's yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Have you bought anything recently? Anything cool?
See, I realize that I'm not spending money at all, like at all.
What a great. It's one of the advantages of being in this
Yeah,
lockdown, no?
yeah.
Every time
Like
I look at
no,
my,
I'm not ordering food from outside. I'm not
yeah,
going out. I'm not
uh,
drinking out. I'm
uh,
not traveling. I'm not traveling for pleasure.
uh,
So like none of that shit is happening. So I
yeah,
decided to like, splurge a little and like, gift myself
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of things. So
yeah.
yeah.
No, because pre-pandemic, when you live in a city like Bombay, let's say you assume, मेरे account में 40,000 है.
Hmm.
Okay, but you go to the ATM, you withdraw 500, and suddenly you notice, oh, it's actually just 32,000.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
kind of attrition is constantly there in
Yeah.
Bombay. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought 28,000, why is it showing 19,000?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
constant. That
Yeah.
feeling never leaves you.
I know.
But
I know.
then suddenly lockdown has happened, and now it's like I feel like shit, I think there must be only like 40,000 left, but I go and actually there's 56,000, and I'm like, what? How did I not spend? How is there a surplus?
Yeah. True. True.
It's the opposite feeling. It's amazing. I love that feeling. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like finding change in your laundry box.
Yes,
Oh my
totally.
God. Yeah. So then, yesterday I had a friend who, of all the people he could have messaged, he messaged me to say that, hey, Farhad, I need to buy some clothes. Tell me some good online portals now. And in my head, I'm like, Benchot, I buy my t-shirts from Amazon Basics. You know what I mean? So I'm the wrong person to ask this. But because I know you, okay, I said, maybe you want to check out this AliExpress because my friend has the coolest jackets and he has the coolest shoes and he has the coolest clothes. And dude, he thanked me profusely for AliExpress. Like he
Wow.
couldn't stop thanking me because he was like, he wanted to buy leather shit and leather pants and all of that. And he found that on AliExpress because I don't know if you get that kind of shit on Myntra, Jabong or
No,
whatever.
you don't. No, you don't.
But so you are my cool puppy. I had to like carry forward thank you I'm giving you on behalf of my friend because he was blown away by the kind of shit on AliExpress.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah. Is there anything? Okay, tell me this. Okay, is there anything that you used to find cool as a kid, but now you cringe that? How the
Oh
fuck
my God.
this?
What, like so many things, so many
Okay,
fucking things.
tell
Okay.
me, tell me.
Starting with, oh my, why am I blanking? Fuck,
It's okay.
I had so many things in my head and suddenly they all seem nice, Okay, so not kid, but a lot of things I used to think were really, really cool, when I was in my teen years. Oh, Jesus. Like, I used to think,
For a second, I thought you were going to say OJ. OJ Simpson. When
oh,
you said, oh,
please.
Jesus. I was like,
No,
yeah.
so, yeah, like I used to have this, just the kind of a job that I would feel was super, super cool. Like
Okay.
as I was growing up, for example, was very different because while I was very interested in arts and all of that, I was constantly surrounded by people who were successful and they were successful only if they were like doctors or engineers and stuff. So I used to think I'd be like, these Jurassic Park scientists and stuff, like,
Amazing.
because like I wanted to be a scientist, but obviously
Yeah.
the other, mechanical engineers and like software engineers were never like cool for me. But Jurassic Park was great because like I grew up playing with dinosaur toys and stuff.
Sure.
So like that used to be like science used to be super cool for me.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, ew.
Wait, so
Like,
now science is you to you? Like,
okay, so I don't look down upon it. It's just, I don't think science is uncool. I think that science as a job is uncool for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there's a very big difference. Like, a science job is not uncool. Me in a science job, in a scientific job, is super uncool.
okay.
Like,
Okay.
I'd be like, it's like saying,
What you thought was the allure of science has entirely changed, basically.
yeah. Oh, also,
But
yeah. What about you? I'll come to
Oh my
more
God.
stuff. I'll
I
come to
thought
more
of
stuff.
like fashion. First of all, I've never been fashionably forward. You know what I mean? Like I not have like, oh my God. So I used to try to stick out by wearing things that nobody else was wearing. So I had a
But did you
Dungarees
consider
phase.
yourself like fashion forward when you were growing up?
Not at all. But
See,
I
that's
would,
okay. That's okay. Unlike me, I have always had a delusional sense of fashion forwardness. Like, even, like, doesn't matter how badly dressed I was in that phase of
yeah,
my life,
yeah,
I
yeah.
used to think I'm the bomb.
Okay,
So,
but yeah, so but my thing was like I was a pop culture child. So
Mhm.
my fashion, of course, now it's like cringy to other people, I guess. But
Mhm.
I did have a Jurassic Park hoodie. I
Mhm.
did have like a Titanic T-shirt. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like Michael Jackson. So Guns N' Roses. I had a pair of Guns N' Roses jeans. I
Mhm.
remember, like I had a regular pair of jeans, and then my brother back then had like he had a phase where he was painting on clothes, like
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
those what are they called, like fabric paint, which
Yeah, yeah,
you can
yeah.
wash and it's still whatever. So he used to
Yeah.
draw Slash, like you remember Slash from Guns N' Roses. He used to draw Slash on everything. So I used to have that. So there was that phase where I would constantly, obviously, I would want people to know that I had a Home Alone T-shirt and like. Oh my God, can I tell you my most cringy one? Okay, I don't
Say.
know how this ended up, but like I used to have a Dil To Pagal Hai t-shirt. And there is actually a photo of me which has recently surfaced in my friends group because I wore it to my friend's birthday party.
I would still think it's cool because I love Dil To Pagal Hai. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, are you serious? That movie is
I
so
love
annoying.
that movie.
I love the songs.
I
Uh,
love that movie because, like, for me, it's one of those not one of those love stories which kind of was. It's got a very modern touch to it,
yeah,
like
it
in
does,
terms
of
of
course, of course. Yeah,
even in terms
dance.
of aesthetics
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I fell in love with that film.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, it
So
was
Dil To Pagal Hai t-shirt. Wow.
I had a Dil To I have a picture. And if whoever's listening, if you're really nice and you compliment me well, I will send you a picture of me in a Dil To Pagal Hai t-shirt with a plate of samosa in my
A
hand.
good job. Okay, so so when I was in college, very repressed. Like, I was first 2 years of college. Like,
Huh.
on a colorful day, I'd wear like a navy blue. Like,
Okay,
that was
okay.
me. But my cool factor was
Hmm.
I used to wear, and by the way, in Calcutta, that was a thing. And I'm from Xavier's, and Xavier's was
Huh.
like the hub of like
Got it.
cool kids,
Yeah.
and like, very
Got
like
it. The
kuch kuch hota
thinkers and
hai.
the, yeah, yeah.
So thinkers and all fine, but like more to do with like the snooty kids basically.
Correct.
So it was the thing because I used to wear the coolest socks with floaters, and that was like
Sexy. I can't even
that was
imagine you.
that was like a legit a trend that time. Like, people
First,
started doing that. Like, people would wear like yellow. I would wear like yellow Simpson socks with my floaters, and especially
dude,
in
first of all,
winters
can
we
I
would
tell you
wear
something? My
what?
entire life, whenever someone says the word floaters, I think of poop that refuses to flush. I
Gee,
don't know why. Like I always think, and I had an extensive floaters phase myself.
thanks, but that's
This
not what we like. Are you talking about poop floating phase or
would
like
you ever wear
shoes?
floaters now? Like
I'm not talking about my my poop habits on this podcast, Farhad.
okay,
I
okay, but I've moved on. Now I'm asking you if you had the chance, if you found a good pair of like because sometimes I have a friend. He has those Spartan style floaters. You
okay.
know what
So
I'm talking about?
floaters is something I left ever since I started. Like, ever since I realized that fashion is a thing, or
And that you needed to get laid again.
style is a thing. I
Okay,
realized.
okay.
Oh, please! By the way, floaters were in, and like, yeah, like everyone who was in floaters was getting action. So
Ugh,
please,
yeah.
but I left them behind when I realized what my style is. But
Okay.
floaters, cargo pants, and sweatshirts.
Oh my
That
God.
was the thing.
You
That
have
was
just
the thing.
described every coder I know.
I-
Every
it's-
friend of mine who's a coder wears that.
and so I used to think I was super cool, and that time Pantaloons had this like
Pantaloons. Oh
sub
my-
brand called Underground Music. अब Pantaloons छोड़ के और कुछ औकात नहीं थी मेरी. So like there was this sub brand called UMM, Underground Music Movement.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I used to love underground movements, underground music
Yeah.
movements clothes.
Yeah.
Because they were
Yeah.
slightly, interesting, and like they had
Yeah.
interesting like silhouettes and cuts, and
Yeah.
so I would be like
I remember the
UMM
brand.
from top to bottom.
The first brand, I thought, oh, this is a cool brand.
I
Because
agree. I agree.
Before
Like
that, I was like, whatever your mom buys you, right? Like
before
that's
that, I was like, like औकात न थे. Like
mere mein to my mom would once a year, of course, we would come to Bombay 2 or 3 times a year to meet our cousins. And then it was standard, we go to Fashion Street and then I buy whatever. And Fashion Street would have all your wrestlers, t-shirts and Jurassic Park and all of that kind of shit. So a lot of that, but the first time I thought a brand that looks cool, and now I don't know if it's
because
judgmental.
I remember I got my first piercing, as in it was like a cartilage, upper ear cartilage ka piercing, after I saw this model on a UMM poster, and I was like, this looks nice. I think I should also get one. So imagine the effect it had on me. So it's quite something.
So first it was FUBU, if you remember FUBU.
As in
the brand,
like bahar wala brand ka,
As in it was FUBU. I remember suddenly there was FUBU everywhere, and Kappa, KAPPA, wasn't that? Yeah, those two brands, I suddenly started feeling like for the first time, I was like, oh, there are brands, and there is one particular brand that I like.
Ranchi mein nahi milta tha. Like,
not that FUBU, and I'm sure right now there are all these snooty gays listening to us who are like, ew, FUBU. Because FUBU was like a rapper.
FUBU is like a street, it's got streetwear cred even today. It had a very
street hip-hop vibe, and the thing was, I was an overweight kid. So suddenly, because they did very street hip-hop, like rapper kind of clothes, so everything was oversized and kind of cool, So I used to like FUBU in that sense because I could be like fat and still feel cool. The caps, oh my God, I can't believe I had a cap phase. Oh my God.
You wore caps?
Who was I? It's like, that was a different person.
I miss hats. Okay, so here's the thing. I love fedoras, but I found the perfect fedora and I lost it when I was traveling, and I just haven't found.
I don't know the difference between a fedora and a hat.
As in, there are different kinds of hats in terms of how big they are, like, and the tilt basically. So like a trilby hat is like more of a, like, longer one.
Is fedora more like a cowboy hat? Like a...
no, fedora is like the kind
Hrithik Roshan hat.
Yeah, sort of.
समझ गया. I don't know why I said Hrithik Roshan hat. But I can imagine him doing some dance moves with some hat and
yeah. So it's kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, like you had a cap phase. Wow. Like, and did you wear it like,
but that was also and all? My street boy. I used to wear my cap backwards on.
Ooh.
And Fido Dido, 7-Up.
Yeah.
And Fido Dido, and I was listening to cassettes and boom boxes, and my bags were panty. I was about to say my pants were baggy. My bags were not panty. But yeah, I used to have like overtly like fucking baggy pants. You know what I mean? Like there's no way you could tell कि इसके नीचे ये लड़का पतला है या मोटा है. You just couldn't tell, Then okay, this is the kind of shit that might end friendships. But I had a proper dungarees phase.
I love dungarees. I still think dungarees are super cool.
And I'll tell you why dungarees, because queer as folk had started happening. And if you remember, Emmett used to wear a lot of dungarees in that. And I specifically remember, like, sexually, dungarees are like pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, you just undo your...
Yeah.
And not only is your upper half undone, even your bottom half is undone at the same time. You know what I mean? So I did have a dungarees phase also because, again, Kate Winslet used to wear dungarees in Eternal Sunshine. So I was like, wow, I'm a dungarees child now.
But forget about clothes for a second.
This is all fashion.
What kind of people did you find cool when you were growing up, like around you? Were you a cool person according to you?
I like to believe I was cool, but
as in when you were growing up, did you feel cooler to you?
All the time. I felt like I was the coolest fucking kid around, but that was because, and this is something that is still persistent to date, because pop culturally, I feel like I am very cool. Like sometimes, I'll tell you where it comes from. Constantly my friends just go like, dude, how the fuck do you have time to read so many books, and how the fuck do you listen to so much music, and how the fuck do you know so many movies, and how the fuck do you know you know what I mean? And I was like that as a kid too, and partially pre-internet I don't know if I ever told you this. It's a little cute anecdote I'd like to tell you, but my dad one day just decided to retire.
Yeah, library.
And he opened a library, and suddenly, dude, I had access from good housekeeping to interior decoration to like, I had access to like comic books and magazines from around the world, from gardening magazines to like cooking magazines to like you name it, right? So I was, and also obviously the E back then, which was, now it's like TMZ, but back then you used to get E, like Entertainment Weekly, which was Pamela Anderson and Baywatch. And so I would get like the Hollywood side of it. I would also get the Bollywood side of it, which Stardust and Filmfare. So I was very in tune in terms of movies, music, books. I was always up there. And I felt like again, a lot of times now when I think about it, I don't feel bad that I've traveled the world, because I felt like I have traveled the world in a different way. You know what I mean? Today, when I watch a movie like, I don't know if you've ever seen Uncle Boon Me.
Of course I have.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of know what the lowlands of like Vietnam look like. I vicariously, since I was a kid, pop culture themes, trends, everything. I just was, and then the internet happened and I just exploded. You know what I mean? Like suddenly GIFs and MSN and Tumblr and everything was like just at a click away. So I always felt like my friends always looked at me as the knowledge guy, and knowledge means not like, hey, what is, not, you get what I mean? Not like,
like someone who's
bookish
like
knowledge,
exposed.
not bookish knowledge.
Yeah, like someone who's more exposed than them.
More exposed, and again, I don't also want to whittle it down to, oh, do you know any movies like Matrix that I can watch? So they would come to me. No, I was constantly like, oh, Keanu Reeves is now dating Winona Ryder. And then, I was just glued into that kind of matrix all the time. And I felt that made me very cool. And it still does, because now in an age where content is like gold, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm ahead of the race in so many ways.
Of course,
right? So many times when you told me about, I forgot the name of the movie and I loved it. End of the Millennium, End of the Century.
Yeah.
End of the Century.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had never heard of it. You told me about it. You told me about Host, know. And suddenly it becomes like I now only function on a frequency with people who can give me that kind of information, and I can give them that kind of information. And I don't think I'm doing justice to this, because again, it's just boiling down to movies, music and all. But whether it's poetry, whether it's like philosophy, books, I feel like I have a more zoomed out worldview of everything through everything that happens in art and culture. So in that sense, I always felt like my dick is 20 inches long. Like, like I am the shit. And I still feel that a lot of times.
Well, on that note, we'll take a short break.
We should take
on the note of a 20-inch dick, we'll take a 20-inch break.
20-inch
maybe like 2-inch break.
While we
and
measure.
we'll be back.
See you on the other side.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Intel, for coming back to us. We love our sponsors. If you'd like to be one of them, do reach out. So, really cool week on the network this week, right? Started off with a bang. Abhijit Ganguly was on Cyrus Says. Funny comedian. I think you guys will enjoy that. We had Dimant Parekh on Advertising is Dead. Dimant's the founder of Better India. Govindraj Athiraj is also on Uncle Please Sit this week. That's a really fascinating show which they talk about fake news. On the Habit Coach, there was a crossover event with Aditi Surana from Absolutely Right. I think you definitely enjoyed that. And last but not least, definitely a show I'd love you all to check out. We have a new show called This Round Is On Me. It's hosted by Gauri Devi Dayal. If you remember, Gauri and I worked on a show together called The Kolaba Cartel a while ago. Fun show. If you haven't checked that out, do check that out. But this is a show where she's talking to a lot of different people in the food space. Her first guest is Harsh Mariwala, legend in his own time. I think you'll really enjoy that show. With that, let me get you back to your show.
And we are still measuring Farhad's dick, and the break is over.
It was a very short break. It was a very short and thick break. Let's just put it like that.
Fair.
Oh my God.
But
Dude, the other day I just realized that, my friend just randomly said, where is Enrique Iglesias? And in my head...
And you remember because small dick?
No, and then I realized, wait, did his career die because he was vocal about having a tiny
No,
penis?
his career never died. Like, firstly, he's been as successful as ever. Like, India mein cassette nahi bika hoga uska later, but like he's been scooping up Grammys after Grammys over years, like Latin Grammys.
In recent times.
In recent times, he's not needed to. Like, his trajectory and Ricky Martin's trajectory are pretty much similar. Like, they took a break. They took a breather. Yeah. He's enjoying like blissful married life with Anna Kournikova.
Wait, they got married?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously I'm not the biggest pop culture queen out there because as far as I remember, they dated, then they broke up, and then he very vocally said
he was vocal about his penis size forever, like quite.
I thought he was the flag bearer of normalizing small penises. And then I thought, boom, suddenly all the women were like, okay, I don't like Enrique. You can't be my hero, baby.
Oh, gee.
He was so hot. Oh, my God.
I would. So here's the thing. Like for me, okay, this is an ideal example of what I used to think was cool, and I don't now.
Okay,
like Enrique Iglesias. I used to think his music was super cool. Like the affected, like that affected sound. I used to think, oh my God, this is the ye Grammy de boss Grammy, and and now I'm just like, no.
But dude, that happens with a lot of
things, like Backstreet Boys, for example. I used to jizz over Backstreet Boys.
But you know what I mean. If everybody by Backstreet Boys comes on at a party, even now, everybody's down. That was
okay. So there's a lot of stuff that, again, I feel like you go through like this phase. For example, when I was 15, that's when Kylie Minogue had released the Fever.
Timeless.
Fever. That album. So and that's when, like, for me, she erupted. Like, Can't Get You Out of My Head.
But that's what I say. See, but now if you listen to it, it's not like you'd cringe.
No. So here's the thing. Listen to this. Listen to this. So once, and then for almost the next, I don't know, like, then I moved to Calcutta, and there no one really gave a fuck about Kylie Minogue. And I was growing up as a gay kid, and I was reading a lot of gay stuff out there that were, gay people were worshipping Kylie Minogue, and no one gave a fuck. So Kylie Minogue was like another, like a poorer Britney Spears. You should hate Britney Spears, and so Kylie Minogue is even worse. So I stopped like listening to her, and then once I became like a full flaming, like I accepted my flaming homo-ness, I was like, fuck this shit, Britney, it's Britney, bitch, like, it's please. Britney. And then so this happened after Gaga's resurgence, and because Gaga came up, there was so much more respect that that dance music suddenly started getting, because it had like narrative attached to it. It wasn't just pure sleaze, and then suddenly everyone started talking about Britney Spears is like toxic, because like that was her return, like oh my god. So all of that started like coming together, and I was just like, why hello, Kylie is back. Kylie is back in my life. So, but Enrique, I've not been able to make peace with still. Like, I still think
Enrique, I feel again, see, that's the thing, right? There are so many things that we, like Madonna, Kylie, these are a part of us. Like, they were our escape in a lot of ways. They were also a form of expression for us today. Like, I know I wasn't like openly sucking dick, but I know how I felt gay when I heard Madonna Borderline or like Kylie Minogue Can't Get You Out of My Head. There was like some sort of, and this is at a time where suddenly we all have straight friends, and my straight friends are listening to like Metallica and Limp Bizkit, which even, by the way, I listen to a lot. But what I'm trying to say is, the more I listen to you talk, I felt like I always tried to, within all of that, even though I was not living an authentic life. So I'll give you an example. Like, while my friends were listening to like Metallica and Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park, which again I loved, okay, I still love in so many ways, I always still went steps ahead of them and like kind of found the Marilyn Mansons and the 9 Inch Nails where they would never go, because they would always be safe like that. You know what I mean? To them. But I remember for them, if you made them listen to Marilyn Manson, they'd be like, this is so weird. This is so, or Korn, if you remember Korn. Like, that was very weird for them. For them, what was mainstream? So basically, I felt like they were sheep like that. You know what I mean? They just, what is mainstream means it's good, And we, growing up, I feel like we're at the cusp of, we like the mainstream also, but hey, I like Sade also. You know what I mean? Like, Sade is such a good example, because if I told my friends, do you listen to Sade? They'd be like, what is this word coming out of your mouth? Like,
who dat?
Do you listen to Natalie Imbruglia? They'd be like, kaun hai bhai? Kya ho gaya tere ko?
So for me, okay, one of my biggest struggles was feeling like a fish out of water everywhere I went. And I still kind of, grapple with that. Now I celebrate that.
So that's what I was trying to get at. That's what I think makes us cool a little. That we always
but
it came,
boundaries. But it's come now. Like, now I think I'm cool. Like, I'll explain that.
Okay.
When I was in Ranchi, okay, the cool things were to watch the kind of stuff everyone was watching. The cool thing was to play cricket and be like, have cricket match, like, whatever you call, like, details, like, in your head, at your fingertips. And none of that was my jam. For me, I was watching beauty pageants, and I was watching fashion shows, and I was watching movies and watching the Oscars. And then I moved to Calcutta. And in Calcutta, one of the things that I faced was this sense of, oh my God, like, I know I have this knowledge about so many things, but I was so inward because I used to feel severely uncool because I didn't know what being outgoing was like, going to a nightclub and disco and things like that. And as a result of that, I would just keep all of that knowledge to myself. So while it would come through when it came to, let's say, my education, and in classes, I would be like, the annoying kid who would always have his hand raised. But otherwise, whenever I was in the presence of other city kids, I'd feel supremely unconfident, unconfident. I would feel like...
Basically, what set you apart is exactly what made you feel like...
Exactly.
I shouldn't open up about.
And like, people would go weekends were like shopping days because they had the money and I didn't. And so it was really like, I was struggling then. And even in let's say the first year of college, I was still there. That's why all the things I would wear were very muted. And slowly, gradually, I think what ended up happening was I found this group of friends who spoke the same language as I did, and to me they were cool. And then I felt like, oh, so if they feel like I'm fun to be with, be around, then I must have some coolness to me.
Yeah.
And then, I started doing things. Suddenly color started coming into my wardrobe. Suddenly I started cutting my hair in different ways. Because before that I literally just had like this champu, like, side parted hair. So I started doing things, experimenting a little, trying new things out.
Yeah. I guess you started becoming more of an individual, and
I started becoming more of an individual.
Because we've discussed like fashion wise or clothing wise, cool, uncool, pop culture wise, but even that which we've already discussed in a previous episode. But we should brush through it, which was we all reach that age where we start realizing that, hey, I listen to Fiona Apple doesn't mean that I'm the only person in Pune listening to Fiona Apple.
Yeah.
There is someone else out there who fucking listens to Fiona Apple and knows more than me.
Yeah.
And then you sort of
so I wasn't even confident enough to think that. That's my thing. I was in a space, like that's a great thing for someone who's super confident and needs to be grounded, Like that conversation wasn't happening with me. For me, the conversation was, hey, so there are people who are talking about like Audio Slave, and I have no idea about Audio Slave. But hey, I listen to Fiona Apple, so don't feel bad. There are people who don't listen to Fiona Apple. This bitch has been nominated multiple times for a best alternative album Grammy. So you like alternative tastes, so be okay with that.
Dude,
I started loving Bjork. I love Bjork. So because I would listen to Bjork, that would make me feel like, oh, okay, so I'm not uncool. It's just that people have different tastes.
I guess we started, Bjork is such a fantastic example, right? Because I remember there were times when I'm chilling with my friends and MTV and VH1 are just a thing, and sure, your Come My Lady, Come My Lady, You're My Butterfly would come on, and everybody's like, or Limp Bizkit would come on, but a Bjork would come on and they'd be like, I'd be like, oh my God, I love this song. And they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Why is she crying?
Like, ye kya, matlab, ye music hai. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is so like, and sure, they are my friends. I grew up with them. I get it. But in retrospect, I love that I never judged anything back then. And I would decide what is cool or not cool, or probably not even have a definition of what's cool. If I like something, I like something. If I don't like something, I don't like something. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
And it's coming to appearances, I feel like once you reach a certain age, you have a certain taste in life about certain things, especially again pop culture and all, and you start trying to reflect that like a chameleon, I guess, because even we've discussed this, how I had my own when Eternal Sunshine and all of this was starting to happen, and I realized that my friends will never appreciate a movie like Eternal Sunshine, but I love this movie, or Big Fish, things like indie stuff, when I started going on that journey, I started visually somehow, okay, my hair was colored because of Clementine, because of Eternal Sunshine. I started coloring my hair. I started I would go mohawk. I remember I had a mohawk very early on because I was really into American History X and Fight Club and all. So I thought a mohawk is cool suddenly. And it's post-school, so you are allowed a little my parents are okay like that. Again, 9-inch nails. I remember my nails were black when I suddenly found 9-inch nails in my life.
So, I mean, again, all of that is like an expression. But what I want to ask is, what kind of people did you find cool when you were sort of growing up versus what do you feel about the same people now? Like, was there ever a time that you used to think, oh, so these kind of people are so cool?
Actually, I do know. It's exactly what I like doing. If someone did it at a better level than me, those are the people I'd find cool. So I'll give you an example. I had a friend who was, so I was a lower to middle class kind of boy, So if I say I want a video game, I'm not going to get a PlayStation. I'm going to get like a 99 brick game, Tetris brick game kind of a thing. But I had a friend who suddenly had the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. His parents would always get him. So I used to find, because he used to satiate my video game side of things. Then I had a friend who used to burn me music CDs, and he wouldn't give me the obvious music, He's the one who'd give me the Prodigy and all the Hatke like music, not your run of the mill, which I can go Venga Boys cassette types, you know what I mean? Not the regular stuff. So once I started surrounding myself with people who would introduce me to things that I was like, holy shit, I had no idea this existed and I love it. I always found those people cool. And I was quite a leech like that. I would totally latch on to someone if they told me, for example, okay, it's a massive worldwide known phenomenon, Friends, yeah. But there was a phase where Friends was a thing before it became a worldwide phenomenon. And I remember one of my friends actually introducing me to Friends even before it was a thing and anybody was watching it. And back then I thought this person is God for introducing me to Friends, because I knew that, oh my God, how come everybody is not watching Friends, So the same goes for books, the same goes for everything. Got it. So I used to find those people very cool. And apart from that, I used to find bullies kind of cool. I don't know why. Maybe it was some that has nothing to do with our existing conversation. But I used to like bad boys. I used to find bad boys very cool back then. Now, the opposite. But what did you have like people you used to look up to, or like
not look up to, but I felt deficient when and the only people I used to find like cool was people I used to feel deficient around. And like, for example, people who would
deficient in the sense that they know about something more than you do.
I mean, that for me, I see that's something that I can challenge. Like I can read up and I can things that I couldn't help, like deficiencies that I couldn't help at that point of time. So, for example, like in college, people would say, "Oh my God!" Like people would have these phones that were like really cool, and I had like this Nokia which you can break like diamonds with. Like I have one of those
3310.
So, yeah, and people would come up with like newer phones, and they would take like photos and like those flip phones and stuff. Like it was so cool that time. A Moto Razor, I remember. So so that was like for me. I would feel like, oh my God, they have like all the cool things in life. and then people would come back from vacation and talk about like how forget about vacation, they were from like these really cool schools that would go to like Paris for vacation and stuff, like really hi-fi school. So I'd be like, मैं तो मतलब कलकत्ता आता था vacation में, like to my nani घर. So and that I can't do anything about. That I couldn't do anything about.
Yeah, because comparison is such a thing that's instilled in us since we were kids, especially Indian kids.
No,
his marks are better than yours.
Yeah, one is that, and secondly, that thought, right? Like I would always think of, okay, so if I'm comparing myself to someone, can I get there? If there is a comparison in my head, can I work towards making myself better? When it came to reading, either when it came to knowing stuff, either my answer would be, I'm not interested in this, or heck yes, I can do this in a week. In a week, I'll be like this person's equal or more. So I was very confident that way. But when it came to these other things, like, people would go and shop. I remember they would talk about, what was it? Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy.
And I would be like, my God, ये लोग तो designer brand खरीद रहे हैं यार मेरे. And I think I'm fashion forward and मेरे को एक भी कुछ designer नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है मेरे पास. Like they would talk about new shoes and I'd be like, मेरे पास तो बस एक ही floaters है और कुछ नहीं है. So that used to make me feel super uncool, and I used to think,
I understand deficient. Why you use the word deficient?
Those people are so cool because they have it all. Like people who are blessed, born with a silver spoon, I used to find that cool. Like I wouldn't have respect for them. I didn't have respect for them, But I used to think it's cool to have a life like that.
Yeah. The ability to flaunt their style around.
Yeah.
Basically.
And how it has changed.
I thought of one deadly one, Sunetro. Can I? Something that I found cool growing up, but as an adult, I find very uncool.
What?
Mental illnesses.
You used to find cool?
Yeah. Basically, by cool, I mean, when you're growing up, especially in a time, again, I'm in the time we grew up in, right? I'm taking 80s to 2000s, yeah? Everybody had that emo phase and rebellious phase and all of that. And I remember how I used to easily throw around terms like, I'm so schizo, man, and I'm so bipolar, and I'm so depressed.
OCD, I have OCD.
I have OCD. OCD, though, again, I get it because, like, that is something your mother might have, because my mom did have OCD. So
but like just think if we like cleanliness, we have OCD. Sure. That's the issue. Like, so everyone who has this Monica syndrome, like everyone thinks, it's so cool to say, listen, I have OCD.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is I would romanticize those thoughts as a younger person, but as an adult, to actually have those things, you know what I mean? Sometimes,
that is such an important point.
I'm like, holy shit! Where is the eject button on this? Because I remember saying, you have a phase where you're suddenly very happy a few days when you're growing up as a teenager, and then you have suddenly days where you feel in the dumps and oh my god, career and my friends are getting into colleges and I'm just wasting my time. That kind of like unsurety. So I used to throw around bipolar so easily back then until I actually got diagnosed with bipolar and in 2013, and then it's ever been like a holy shit, I should have never done that. And that's something a lot of times, so many times, especially with people who message me about the podcast or even sometimes friends or people I'm just starting to get to know online, when they say, oh, I'm bipolar, the first question I always ask is, have you been clinically diagnosed?
Yes.
Have you
I agree. I ask people the same thing now.
Or are you just saying it? Because, and not to shame them, maybe they are. I don't know.
No, of course. But don't go by
you don't use that word lightly, because when you actually, like, let's say OCD, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm scrubby. But when you grow up and you have an actual OCD, it can take over your fucking life and ruin your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why when someone says, I have an anxiety disorder, I have acute anxiety disorder, acute. And I tell people, I respect you, what you feel.
Yeah.
Please see someone. Don't just say you have anxiety. See someone about it and do something about it, because don't wear it like a badge of. I mean, it's
don't
a very
throw it
difficult
around loosely.
Yes,
don't throw it around loosely because
I wouldn't even say badge of honor, because we should own what we have and what we are. But don't throw it around loosely. It's so important. It's
and it's. I don't find it insulting or anything, but it sometimes just like makes me feel like you are robbing experience of people who actually go through it. You know what I mean?
It pisses me off. I mean, you might be a better person, but it fucking pisses me off.
Especially like suicidal ideation. So many times, people are so easy. I'll give you an example. A guy I was chatting with recently, he so very casually told, we had this discussion. His father did not want him to be friends with an effeminate boy. He suddenly started telling me, I'm going to jump off the building. I'm so suicidal and I've been suicidal since so long. And usme bhi I tried to first ask him, wait, have you been clinic? Have you seen a therapist? Have you been have you been told that you are prone to suicidal ideation and thoughts and all of that? Not to say that, by the way, wow, congratulations, Sunetro. We went almost 50 minutes in this conversation without bringing up therapy or therapists.
I know.
So it's a first for us, but here we go. But my first thing was like, you know what I mean? And he's telling me this and I'm feeling so like, I don't know what the word is. And sometimes even that irritates me, that I'm trying to compare. Oh, you are not suicidal. I am suicidal.
Yeah,
Oh,
because then
you
you
are not
start feeling
bipolar.
guilty, right? Like
I
you
am
start
actually
feeling
bipolar.
like I start feeling guilty after that again, because
Yeah.
I start questioning myself. Who are you to judge someone else's journey?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I agree with your point. Like, this thing of taking mental health as something that's cool versus something as a serious issue that needs to be looked into.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
That's a big, like, from before and after. That's a big one. And if I can add one more, which is outside of the mental health space, is so much of your growing up is trying to absorb. I feel like you're a sponge for a majority of your first 20, 25 years, where you're just trying to soak in everything, because you are just like, you are baked in this womb, and then you're brought into this world, and then you learn, right? You just constantly learn everything till you land your first job or whatever. You're constantly trying to learn how to not die, basically, how to survive, basically. You learn.
Yeah.
And I feel once that phase is over and you've worked for a while, you've had a few jobs, you've had a career, a bit of a career or whatever it is, I feel like another kind of coolness that I feel now that I have, that I did not have before. Because what happens is, when you're trying to constantly soak, you constantly end up making the wrong friends, you get into the wrong relationships. All of those kind of fumblings happen because you're learning.
I'll tell you what when I realized that I am kind of cool is when I realized that you can be multiple people. You don't need to fit a box. And that's like literally for me, for example, I'm the kind of person who knows, like, who reads up about designer wear and things like that and all of that. But I'm also someone who puts their looks together from like stuff that I've bought from like literally like thelas and stuff. Like, so I have these two. And again, this is veering into a more like fashion conversation, but even other things like, it's now that I look
can sum it up as
now that I look at my experience as a small town boy versus my experience in a city like Calcutta and my experience in a city like Bombay. And I look at the variety of experiences, and that for me makes me cool.
Sure. Which is why I want to sum it up as a march, that age where you start marching to the beat of your own drum. You know what I mean? Where you are no longer grappling to hold on to things and find stability. Whether it's the kind of people you add into your life, whether it's the kind of career trajectory that you're choosing for yourself, whether it's everything, whether it's sometimes even deciding or choosing how you feel about certain things, right? I feel like that right now, knowing that I can do that, that makes me feel so cool, because it's something that it's not something I've arrived upon myself, but a lot of times people give you feedback all the time in life, in general, that, hey, you are an asshole, or hey, you are such a funny guy, you are such a good person, hey, you are such a dick, you are a malicious person, you're a manipulative person. People will constantly tell you what they think you are, okay? And obviously, to some level, you're putting out that kind of energy out there for people to say that to you. You know what I mean? But I feel reaching an age where you know what you are, and you don't need other people to tell you what you are.
And being okay with the feeling of flux.
Cool.
Yeah. And being okay with the feeling of flux, that I am a work in progress every single day.
Absolutely.
By the way, is there something that you used to find super uncool, and now you sort of, look at the value it has? There are so many things I can talk about.
Which I feel like fundamentally also sometimes I question, am I a good person? I'm sure everybody does that, right? Am I a good human being? I feel like one thing I couldn't stand as a child and I couldn't stand now is making yourself feel like a bigger person by putting someone else down. I feel like I could not do that as a kid. And
I'm talking about something that you used to find uncool, but now...
No, but that's what I used to find that very uncool, because I know a lot of people did that
But you
Everybody
find that
around
cool
me.
now?
No, I don't find that cool
That's
now.
what I'm asking. I'm asking if something that you used to find uncool then, but now
Okay.
that's something that you feel is very, very important. And yeah.
If you have something, start, because I'll have to think about this one. I'll have to think about this.
Like for me, okay, I used to scoff at the idea of peace of mind, or like, resting, and like I used to wear it like a badge of honor when
Got
I
it.
used to
Yeah,
tell
that's
people
my
that
answer too. Got it.
in a
There.
week
Yeah.
in a week I've slept only 2 hours every day. Fuck you guys. Like, what have you done?
Yeah.
Like, wearing that as a badge of honor. And because I used to think that if you calm down, if you cool down, that is a sign of fucking weakness, not realizing that what I used to read as a mode of stasis, a mode of stopping or stalling, was actually a state of equilibrium that my mind needs every single day. I wish I had come to that point far earlier in my life, because it would have saved me a lot of bills, therapy bills, to be honest. A lot of therapy bills.
No, you nailed it. And I'm in the same zone, but I'll tell you differently. And maybe I'll try to make light of the situation. But everything my parents told me to do as a kid, which I rebelled against, as an adult sometimes, and I'm talking about things like what? Okay, go to sleep early. Okay, party, I felt like growing up, I felt like these are the things that make me cool. Like, oh my God, I'm an insomniac, and wow, I function the best at night, and all of these things, right? Like clubbing and constantly being on, and oh my God, I need to be a people pleaser all the time.
Yeah.
As an adult, I feel I understand the value of sleep. I understand the value of all these things that my parents said back then. Now I realize that, holy shit, like, I'm not a people pleaser. I am still, in a lot of ways, I am a people pleaser, but now I don't care about what people think of me anymore. You know what I mean? And yeah, sure, if I enter a room, I want to make sure that everybody's laughing and everybody's having a great time, and everybody, I'm still that, but I don't give a shit anymore about what people think as an adult. So what I thought was cool back then, like constantly trying or looking for validation, or trying to be like, not, what's the term? Like, trying to be living a brash lifestyle in any way. And this is also combined with me at an age where I thought like I need to be hyper masculine to show how little gay I am. And here's the deal. I'm actually a niche case because I was very vocal and out and about my sexuality. So suddenly I wanted to prove to everyone that, hey, that I can be hyper masculine even though that I'm into dick. You know what I mean? I was that niche guy. So now I don't get into those nitty gritties or I don't think I am just me. This is how I am. You like it, you don't like it. And I feel like I'm doing something right because I don't remember the last time I heard any gossip or anyone directly having to tell me that, you know what, Farhad, you're not a nice person. I don't remember the last time. I feel like I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. That's if to answer your question, something that I thought was cool back then, but now I value and
uncool back then.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got confused again, but you got the point. Tu samajh gaya na, bro. Tu samajh gaya na, bro. हाँ, चल beer लगा, F1 देखते, bro. हाँ?
Literally, okay. I understood none of the words that came out of your mouth. Like,
oh my god. Yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Beer. Oh my god, beer. I used to find myself super uncool because people used to go out and drink beer, and I never liked beer. And I used to think, oh my god, this is uncool. Because like, तू तो नहीं पी रहा है, तुझे तो अच्छा भी नहीं लगता है what other people like. So yeah.
You think there are beer gays? Like,
of course there are.
I'm sure if there are Hindu gays, like Hindu Rashtra
gays, like please.
Hindutva gays, then there are beer gays for sure.
Of course there are.
Which is such a stupid assessment, actually.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm sure, like, okay, if a gay guy likes beer, he can like beer. But if you like Hindutva, next topic, please.
I mean, there's a thing called gay Republican, so why does it surprise you?
Oh my god. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Yeah, for this week.
Yes.
The cool and the uncool. The seen and the unseen.
Just remember, you do you, and that's enough, and that's cool enough.
I do me 5 times a day. Sorry. Minimum 5 times. No, not anymore. I've stopped joking off. Did I tell you that?
Yes.
I'm so done with this. Now, tell me if this makes sense as a sentence, okay? I'm so horny that I stopped watching porn and I stopped joking off. I'm that horny. I never thought I would reach. It's like life has come full circle. Like I've reached a point where now I just don't even joke off or watch porn because kya fayda hai bhai? Kuch nahi hota hai. Anjali. Okay. I'll shut up.
Yes. Anyway,
Okay.
we'll catch you guys next week. Keep writing messages. There are some really cool suggestions that have come in, so thank you for that. We'll be exploring a couple of those topics in the coming weeks. So
absolutely,
so keep messaging us.
Thanks for talking to me, Sunetro. Thanks for listening to us.
Likewise.
Guys. Thanks GAYBCD for this amazing show. We are an amazing show. Keep listening to us. Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidayal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink, because this round is on me.
Namaskar, this is Ashish Vidyarthi. Yes, my friend, these are challenging times, but in these challenging times, we can create something extraordinary. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey, available on the IVM Podcasts, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, we have a great opportunity called life. Cheers.